Lionel Messi, 39 years old. The greatest player football has ever seen. He had nothing left to prove, and still, he broke down in tears on the biggest stage in the world, not tears of joy, tears of an ending. On July 19, 2026, Lionel Messi played his final World Cup match, and he lost. Stay with me. Because what happened in that final changed how the world will remember him. Let's set the scene. MetLife Stadium. New Jersey, Argentina, Spain. One name on every single ticket. Lionel Messi. This wasn't just a final. This was a goodbye. Messi had already said it himself. This would be his last World Cup. He'd said something similar back in 2022, and came back anyway. But this time was different. This time, everyone believed him. At 39, he became the first man in history to play in 6 World Cups. 6. Think about that for a second. Most careers don't even last that long. His entire adult life, measured out in 4-year chapters, each one ending on a football pitch somewhere in the world. And this was the final chapter. Here's why this final mattered so much. Argentina were the reigning champions. They won it all in Qatar 2022. Messi lifted that trophy in the desert heat, wearing a golden robe, looking like a king who had finally found his throne. Now they had a chance to do something no men's team had done since 1962, win back-to-back World Cups. Brazil did it in 58 and 62. Nobody since. Not Spain in their prime. Not Germany. Not France. Argentina had the chance to make history twice. Once for the trophy. Once for Messi, 2 legacies. One match, and if you think that's not enough pressure for one 39-year-old body to carry, stay with me. Because it gets heavier. Because what happened in the next 90 minutes of football didn't just decide a trophy. It decided how the greatest player of all time would be remembered. Let's talk about the match. Kickoff. And immediately something felt wrong for Argentina. Spain pressed high. Spain pressed hard. They didn't give Messi a single inch. By halftime, Argentina hadn't taken one shot. 0 touches inside the Spanish box. 0. The best player in the world, and Spain treated him like a ghost. Messi's best moment came in the 5th minute. A perfect pass from Julian Alvarez. Just Messi and the goalkeeper. One touch away from magic. Spain's keeper Unai Simon got there first. Chance gone. And from that moment on, Spain simply strangled the game. By full time, the numbers were brutal. 20 shots for Spain, 2 for Argentina. An expected goals count of 1.94 to 0.20. That's not a football match. That's a domination. Now here's the part most highlight reels won't tell you. This wasn't bad luck. This was a plan, months in the making. Argentina's manager, Lionel Scaloni, built his entire system around one hard truth. Messi, at 39, could no longer press, could no longer run box to box like he used to. So Scaloni built a team that played narrow, compact, dense, protective, a team designed to hide his one weakness and maximize his last ounce of magic. It had worked, all tournament long. But Spain had studied the blueprint, and they had an answer. Their coach, Luis de la Fuente, sent his players out to press with total intensity. Deny Messi the ball, deny him time, deny him space. It's the same treatment defenses give to strikers half his age. And it worked. Messi finished the match with just 15 touches. 15. For comparison, Spain's teenage sensation, Lamine Yamal, had 26. The past and the future, on the same pitch, and the numbers told the story before the final whistle did. But this match wasn't over yet. And what happened in extra time turned a tense final into a heartbreak that fans are still talking about right now. 90 minutes gone. Still nothing. 0-0. Extra time. 30 more minutes for Messi to write one final chapter. But football can be cruel. In second half stoppage time, Argentina's Fernandez picked up his second yellow card. Sent off. Argentina down to 10 men with extra time still to survive. Spain smelled blood. They thought they'd scored. A header from Nico Williams that rattled the net. Ruled out. A foul in the build-up. The stadium held its breath. Argentina, exhausted, injured, a man down, somehow kept holding on. Emiliano Martínez, Argentina's goalkeeper, the same man who saved penalties to win it all in 2022, was having the game of his life. Save after save after save. By the end, he'd made 11 stops. A World Cup final record. For a moment, it looked like heroics might carry Argentina through again. Then, 39 seconds into the second period of extra time, Ferran Torres. Set up by Nico Williams. A shot from 8 yards out. Top of the net. 1-0, Spain. The Argentine bench froze. Messi's face said everything. 10 men, exhausted, chasing a goal they no longer had the legs to find. Spain didn't just hold on. They controlled every single second that followed. When the final whistle blew, it wasn't a shock. It was confirmation. Spain, champions of the world, for the second time in history. And for the first time in 64 years, no country had defended the World Cup back-to-back. Argentina's dream, gone, but the scoreline isn't why this moment went viral. What happened next, in the tunnel, on the podium, in Messi's face, is the part that actually broke the internet. Cameras found him almost instantly. Lionel Messi, hands on his hips, then his head dropping, then the tears. Not the tears of a man who'd lost a game, the tears of a man who understood in real time that a chapter of his life had just closed forever. He walked up to collect his runner-up medal. Eyes glassy, jaw tight, trying and failing to hold it together. Clips of those 30 seconds spread everywhere within hours. TikTok, Instagram, X slowed down. Zoomed in, set to sad piano music. Because everyone watching understood exactly what they were witnessing. This wasn't just Argentina's loss. This was quite possibly the final image of Lionel Messi at a World Cup. Ever, his manager, Scaloni, said it plainly afterward. Everyone should be proud of him, of everything he achieved. Because whether or not he plays again, in that stadium, in that moment, the story felt finished. And endings like that don't just trend, they live forever. Let's talk stats. Because Messi didn't fade quietly into this tournament. He went out swinging, 8 goals, 4 assists. At 39 years old, in his 6th World Cup, Messi still produced numbers that most players in their prime would kill for. He didn't coast to the finish line. He sprinted at it, on legs that had already carried him further than any footballer in history. Rewind the tape of his World Cup career, and it reads like a novel. 2006, a teenager watching from the bench in Germany. 2010, talented, but still searching. 2014, the final, runner-up, the first heartbreak. 2018, an early exit. The lowest point, 2022, redemption, the trophy. The golden robe. The moment we all thought was the ending. 2026, one more run. One more final. One more loss. 6 tournaments. Every emotion football can offer. And it all ended the same way it began for so many legends before him. Agonizingly close, but not quite enough. Now here's where the story gets even bigger. Because Messi's tears weren't the only headline from that final. The whole night turned into one of the most talked about events in World Cup history, for reasons that had nothing to do with football. Let's talk about Spain for a second. Because their story deserves credit too. They didn't just beat Argentina. They dominated an entire tournament. Spain conceded exactly 1 goal in 8 matches. 1. That's not a great defense. That's a historic one. And it's wild to remember. They opened this World Cup with a draw against tournament debutants Cape Verde. From a shaky start to an undefeated championship run. That's the story of champions. Not perfection from minute 1. Growth, match by match, until you peak at exactly the right time. Individually, the awards told their own stories. Rodri, Spain's midfield general, won the Golden Ball, best player of the tournament. Not Messi, not Yamal, Rodri. A quiet, controlling performance that outpointed every superstar in the field. Kylian Mbappé won the Golden Boot as top scorer, even though his team, France, didn't even make the final. Proof that individual brilliance and team success don't always travel together. And then there was Lamine Yamal, 19 years old. Barely a week past his birthday when the final kicked off. Sharing a pitch with Messi for the first time in either of their careers. The torch, quite literally, passing in real time. Now this next part isn't football, but it's part of why this final dominated headlines for days. The halftime show. Shakira performed the tournament's official anthem. Then Coldplay's Chris Martin joined a New York school choir on stage. Then Shakira came back. Then BTS. Then Burna Boy. Pyrotechnics. A stadium-sized spectacle. Built to rival the Super Bowl. For a lot of viewers, it was the most talked-about halftime show football has ever produced. But the drama wasn't only in the music. During the trophy presentation, U.S. President Donald Trump joined FIFA President Gianni Infantino on stage. and the crowd didn't hold back. Boos. Loud, sustained boos, echoing around the stadium during the ceremony. Clips of that moment spread just as fast as the ones of Messi crying. Two different reactions. Same night, same stadium. Tears for an ending, and boos for a spectacle, all inside one unforgettable final. So here's the real question everyone's asking right now. Is this actually it for Messi? Or could we somehow see him again? Let's talk about what comes next. Messi has said the World Cup door is now closed. He'll be 43 by the time the next one rolls around in 2030. Realistically, even for a player who has defied aging his entire career, that's a bridge too far. But here's the twist. Scaloni admitted after the game that he hadn't even spoken to Messi yet about the future, which means the door to representing Argentina again, even outside the World Cup, isn't fully shut. There's a Copa América on the horizon in 2028. Could Messi, at 41, lace up one more time for a shot at silverware that doesn't require surviving a month-long global tournament? Nobody knows. Not even Messi, probably. But if the World Cup truly is finished for him, then this final, the tears, the 10 men, the last gasp defeat, becomes the closing scene of one of the greatest sports stories ever told. Not a fairy tale ending, a human one. And honestly, maybe that hits harder. This result is already reshaping a debate that's raged for almost 2 decades. Messi versus Ronaldo. Messi versus history itself. Here's the case for Messi, even in defeat. 2 World Cup finals reached, 1-1. A Golden Ball performance in 2022 that will be studied for generations. Records across club and country that may never be broken. And here's the counter-argument, the one his critics will point to. He leaves this final tournament not lifting the trophy, but losing it. Some will use this final to say the story isn't perfect. Others will say a perfect story was never the point. What matters is that for 6 World Cups, across parts of 3 different decades, Lionel Messi was the reason hundreds of millions of people tuned in. Whether you're on Team Messi or not, that part isn't up for debate. Now, before we wrap up, here's the detail almost nobody's talking about. And it might be the most important one of all. Go back and watch the tunnel footage from after the match. Before the tears. Before the medal ceremony. Messi walking off the pitch, surrounded by Spanish players. Not rivals in that moment, just footballers, one by one, coming up to embrace him. Yamal, Torres, Simon, players who grew up watching him on television, now sharing a World Cup final pitch with him, and choosing, in the rawest moment of his career, to show respect instead of celebration. That's not staged. That's not scripted. That's what 20 years of brilliance actually buys you. Even in defeat, even at 39, even walking away without the trophy, the entire footballing world stopped to acknowledge what they'd just witnessed. That's the real story behind the tears. Not just an ending. A send-off. So was this really the end? Maybe. Football has a habit of not letting its biggest stars leave quietly. But if July 19th, 2026 really was the last time we see Lionel Messi at a World Cup, then it ended exactly the way his story always seemed destined to end. Not with an easy trophy, not with a perfect script, with tears, with heartbreak, with 10 exhausted men giving everything they had, and it's still not being enough. Somehow, that feels more fitting than any fairy tale ever could. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think we've seen the last of Messi at a World Cup? Or is there one more twist left in this story? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. If this video hit you the way it hit me, smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow. And if you want more breakdowns like this, World Cup drama, legendary careers, moments that actually matter, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because trust me, this story isn't over yet. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.